Hi, you're watching Marie Claire Online and I'm Caroline Castigliano. My predictions around the royal wedding, this is a question that's getting so interesting, is really all about Kate because everything seems to be Kate, 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 what's Kate going to be wearing on the day? And I think that Kate is going to have a very beautiful, simplistic but classic gown. I think she'll be beautifully covered because I think that's part of tradition for the royal family. I think that she'll have an exquisite long lace sleeve. I'm sure the gown will really show her beautiful waistline and her stunning figure. I mean, she's a very slim and very attractive girl. And I'm expecting to see quite a long train because I think that when you're walking down Westminster Abbey, it's really critical to have that long train. When all those cameras pull away and see the aisle, that train will have to be well in place, even if she's sort of quite understated in her gown itself. The perfect wedding guest outfits for the royal wedding, of course, are number one, your shoulders have to be covered. Number two, you must have a sleeve. Number three, it is considered to be unacceptable to have any cleavage show. And from the point of view of the back of the dress, the neckline has to stop above the bra line. These are things I think are quite interesting because they're very move away from how fashion is today. From the point of view of length, it's only seen to be acceptable to be approximately 2 inches above the knee line. So all this criteria has to come into place when you're actually designing for the guests and friends of the royal family. But that hasn't really been altogether too difficult because we've done some really beautiful dresses and be able to use a little bit of the sort of 50s styling, which has worked fantastically for some of the dresses we've done that will be seen on the wedding day. From the point of view of guys, I mean, guys are always covered. Yeah, they wear their morning suits or a very smart suit and they will always be covered wherever they go. They will probably be acceptable. So what brides really look for themselves when they come to see us is, well, what we advise them to do is to always remember the dream that they've had, forgetting where it is that her wedding's taking place. This is a day that has great importance in her life. She's now met somebody that she's decided to spend the rest of her life with. So she wants to turn up with what she had when she was a child and she had that dream. That is how she should critically look. And then obviously, you have to play slightly along the lines of where you've chosen to hold your reception. So I think if you put the two together, the dream of what you always wanted to be, plus the actual place that the reception's going to be held, they're the starting points when you're actually starting to discuss with a bride her actual dress. A typical morning. Well, I'd probably be on the computer from about 7 o'clock in the morning and trying to get my day organised. It totally depends what I'm doing at that time. If I'm working on new collection or I'm designing specifically for certain individuals as to how the day works out. But I will usually go to my design room and see my team. So we work out the day, what they're working on, look at toile fittings. I will then probably drop into our Knightsbridge boutique to make certain everything's okay there. If I'm seeing any specific clients, that's where I would actually see a client I'm going to design for individually. And then I'll head back to our Wimbledon office. Lunch for me is definitely on the go. I always have a salad at lunchtime and I sort of eat it as I'm talking. So the afternoon for me, it changes radically all the time because it really does depend. Am I involved in a shoot? Am I seeing a client? Am I designing? Am I actually speaking to our different stores? Because obviously I have stores around the country. So actually keeping in contact with them is extremely important. I don't get the opportunity to really visit them very often because I'm just too busy. I do like to feel that I'm keeping very much in contact with our managers so they know what's happening to the brand, what we're actually doing. And they feel they have a very strong connection with me personally. 3 days a week, I'd say I'm out networking with people, to do with business, whether it's to do with a fashion show that's taking place, to do with somebody that I'm designing for, but often out on business. And yes, I would like to say that 2 nights a week, I go home and just go to bed. Celebrities are very interesting because obviously, I couldn't say one individual because I've worked with many, and they're interesting from the point of view, especially when you're working with actors, is that they have a perception themselves as how they're being perceived or how they want to be perceived. And it's very important to try to get to understand how they're seeing themselves and their character and how that is to be portrayed to the public. And it might be quite a little bit different to how they really are. So it's very much getting to understand their perception of what their persona is going to be to the public and being able to work with that to be able to fulfill their need from a design perspective. So I've worked with quite a few interesting characters, but that's generally the most interesting thing about the celebrity market. I've been asked this question a lot lately. Who would you like to dress? Who would be the ideal person? Well, there's a lot of women out there that I think have really great sort of style that I think is interesting to be to playing with. I suppose really on the British circuit, I'd love to dress Keira Knightley. Young woman, excellent looking, beautiful figure. Should be somebody fabulous to dress. But at the same time, I'd be just as happy to dress Helen Mirren, who I think is just the most fantastic star and got a fabulous figure and a wonderful aura about her. And another fabulous British talent that I would love to be able to do business with. If I wasn't designing, I definitely would like to have been a writer. I would have been a journalist or a writer. In fact, I still intend to do that with my life. Advice to somebody that wants to be a designer, well, very importantly, you're going to have to work incredibly hard, and you must absolutely stick with it through hell and high water, because it is hard work to get seen and to be believed in. It's great designs, it's a brilliant team with you, it's fantastic marketing, it's lots of different things coming together at the right time. But if you've got what it takes, work with somebody who's really good, listen, learn by the mistakes that they've made, so you don't have to make them yourself, and just keep on fighting to get out there. Hope somebody recognizes your talent and puts you on the map.